So first of all, I would like to say Tashit Delek to all of you. As you know, I was here 3 years ago. At that time, and also this time, I was asked to come by Champagne and Indra. So I'm happy to be here again in this beautiful country. And today, as I've been asked, I will give short teaching in this beautiful place of the Tibet house. So, generally speaking, on self, wish to gain happiness and overcome suffering. Similarly, all the sentient beings also have some wish to gain happiness and to overcome suffering. So when we have this common goal to achieve, still if we just ignore others' welfare and if we just focus and emphasize on one's own welfare, then it is not right. So therefore, as we have common goal to achieve, one should also put effort to achieve this common goal. And to do this, one needs to practice loving kindness, compassion. Actually, we all have loving kindness and compassion because we have loving kindness and compassion to our loved ones, to our close friends, etc. And some has little more, some has loving kindness and compassion to others who are from the same community or who are neighbors or who are from the same town or city or from the same country, etc. Or one can have loving kindness and compassion to those who are from the same religion or from the same schools. But these are not exactly same as one that is taught by Buddha. Although loving kindness and compassion to others is very good, but the most excellent loving kindness and compassion is to have loving kindness and compassion towards all the beings without any exception. So, if we love somebody and if we hate somebody, then it is not right. Everybody has this kind of thought, love someone and hate someone. And because of that also can have more problems and also can have wars or fightings because one has love towards one's own side and one has hatred against the other side. So that kind of love and hate is something that divides the people, that divides the community, that divides the people from same country or same continent, etc. So we should overcome this kind of love and hate thoughts. If we have both, then it's a problem. Then it means we hate someone. And when we hate someone, then out of hatred, we do harmful actions against them, which is not right. So generally, Buddha's teaching is based on non-violence, based on love, based on compassion, based on wishing others to be happy, based to be a good person that can help others, that can fulfill the wishes of others, that can rescue others from suffering, that can remove the suffering of others, that can guide and help others. So these are like the fundamental teaching. So here when we say others, it means not just limited beings, but here others means limitless sentient beings. So here loving kindness means we should love all the beings. We should overcome the negative thoughts, and we should love every sentient beings without any exception. If we just have love, if we just have loving kindness, and if we just have compassion towards all the beings, then it means one will never do bad actions. One will never do harmful actions to others from our body, speech, or mind. So it means physically one will not beat one's family members or anybody. Verbally one will not criticize or blame or use harsh words to others out of hatred, and one will not have anger and other negative thoughts to others. So through this way one can practice loving kindness. Actually, it is important for us to practice loving kindness and compassion to all the beings without any exception, because we as a human being, our feature, our appearance is very gentle, calm, and peaceful. We are not fearsome. Our look is not fearsome. Our appearance is not fearsome. Not like lion and tigers that has fangs, that has claws, etc. Our look is gentle. So as we have a gentle appearance, similarly we should also have peaceful mind, gentle mind, altruistic thought. Then our appearance and our inner mind matches, because both are peaceful, calm, and gentle. So therefore it is very important for us to develop loving kindness and compassion to all the beings. If we love others and if we help others, there's no point or no reason for others to take revenge because we just help them so they will not harm us in return. So main thing is to be more calm, more positive, and to be a better person, to be a good person, warm-hearted person is what we need to become. So through the practice of loving kindness and compassion, one can achieve this. One can be a good person. One can be a better person. Good or bad person is distinguished by our thought. Those who are short-tempered are bad person. Those who always have loving kindness, compassion are good person. So good or bad person is distinguished by our thought. If our thought is positive, like loving kindness and compassion, then we become good person. If we always show anger, if we always have harmful thought, which to harm others, then it means oneself is a bad person. So good or bad person is distinguished by our own thought. So if we want to be a good person, then we need to adopt loving kindness and compassion. By adopting anger, by adopting negative thoughts, it is not possible to become a good person. Negative thoughts like anger and other negative thoughts will always make that person a bad person, a short-tempered person, a person that makes problem, a person that harms others, a person that makes problem after problem. So therefore, if we really want to achieve happiness, then we need to love others. Actually, in the Bodhisattva Chayavatara, it says, the cause of happiness is wishing others to be happy, and the cause of suffering is wishing oneself to be happy. So if we have the wish to gain happiness for oneself alone, then it means we have the selfish thought. And when we have selfish thought, then based on this we do many negative actions, which is motivated by these negative thoughts. So therefore, it is very important for us to practice loving kindness and compassion. So here, loving kindness means wish to gain happiness and engage in the happiness, engage in the cause of happiness by all the beings. So it means we wish all the beings to be happy and to do positive actions, to do good actions, which are the cause of happiness. So, to practice this loving kindness, first we need to know the object of loving kindness. Here, object means not just few beings. Here, object means all the beings, all the sentient beings, without any discrimination, without any exception. So, to make our object more effective, or to have real object, which is to visualize all sentient beings as our object. For this, we need to emphasize on this object. So, generally speaking, Buddha's teaching is based on loving kindness, compassion, etc. So, therefore, we must act according to the Buddha's teaching. And to do this, we need to know all the beings as our object. And to make this more effective, or in order to really practice this, we need to think that sometimes we need to think, first we focus on all the beings of this country, and then from all the beings of other country, like this. Like this, country by country, we can visualize them. We can visualize all the beings of this country or that country, country by country, and then wishing them to be happy and to engage in the cause of happiness, and wishing them to be free and free from suffering, and wishing them to be free from cause of suffering. So through this way, our practice becomes more effective. Then it means we are good at all the time. If we are good only at our people, our own side, and if we are not good on others, then it is not right. Then it means we are just practicing part of loving kindness. We are just practicing limited loving kindness. But here we need to practice for all. Generally, Buddha's teaching that we practice, or Dharma practice that we practice, is for the sake of all the beings. We are not practicing Dharma just for Buddhist people or Buddhist followers. We are not practicing Dharma just for oneself, just to gain happiness for oneself, or just to gain happiness for one's own close family members and friends. The purpose of Dharma teaching or the Dharma practice is for the sake of all the beings. So Dharma practice, we are doing Dharma practice for the sake of all the beings, without any exception, without any discrimination. So therefore, limitless sentient beings is something that we really need to visualize as our object. And limitless sentient beings means not only all the 8 billion or more than 8 billion human beings, but also it includes all the animals that are in this world, that are on the earth and in the water. So it means all the humans and animals of this world, along with all the beings of the 6 realms. All these are our object of loving kindness and compassion. So we need to open our mind. We need to broaden our mind, widen our mind, so that we can really visualize all the beings as our object, and then wishing all of them to be happy and to engage in the virtuous deeds, or wishing all of them to do good things, good actions, positive actions. That is the meaning of loving kindness. So, if we have this kind of loving kindness, then it controls our negative. It controls our anger. We cannot practice, or we cannot do love and hate by oneself to a same person at one time. When we love, then at that time, to that particular person, we don't have hate. If we hate this person, then at that time, at that moment, we don't have love towards that same person. We cannot have love and hate to the same person at the same time. Normally worldly people do have love and hate to a same person at different times. But to have love and hate both at the same time to a same person is not possible. So if you really have the practice of loving kindness to all, then at that time we don't have the anger towards others. We don't have any negative thoughts on others at that particular time. So if we try to practice loving kindness to others more and more, then our practice becomes better and better. And then it means we can control the anger and other negative thoughts better and better. Then it means we can become a good person. Our self becomes better and better. So, therefore, it is important to practice loving kindness. Actually, just by hearing the meaning of loving kindness is not enough. Just by hearing loving kindness doesn't mean we can practice or we are practicing. And also, just by knowing the meaning of loving kindness is not enough for us to practice. To practice, we need to do it. We need to do it in action. Loving kindness in action is the practice of loving kindness. So, loving kindness is very important and all the time. And if you do loving kindness practice all the time, then we can really become a better person. And why we have to practice loving kindness? There are many reasons. One, as I said before, practice of loving kindness is happiness, the cause of happiness for oneself. And practicing selfish thought or doing selfish thought is the cause of one's own suffering. So, therefore, this is one of the reasons why we need to practice loving kindness. And then another reason is we have been born in this samsara not only one time. We have been born in this samsara infinite times or from beginningless time. And during these times, we had infinite close ones. We had infinite close ones, or whenever we are born, we will not have close family members or friends all the time. It is not the same all the time. Our close family members and friends changes. When we change our life, our close family members and friends also change. So, therefore, we have been loved by so many people or infinite beings. All these beings has loved oneself in one way or another in one of the past lifetimes. So now it is for us to repay their kindness, and at present we have the best opportunity to repay their kindness. We have the best chance to repay their kindness. So we have the best chance to repay their kindness now, because now we have this precious human life and we know what is to be adopted and what is to be abandoned. So normally people are saying some animals are smart, like especially like dolphin, they are smart. But compared to human beings, they are not that smart. Human beings can use one's own intelligence, can read, write, and think, and meditate, and can study for so many years. But dolphins or other smart animals, although they are smarter than other animals, but they don't have the ability to study for so many years, or they don't have the ability to get high degree or like PhD. So compared to human beings, the most smart animals are also not so smart. So therefore, at the moment, we have this intelligence, we have this wisdom, we have the power to know what is to be adopted and what is to be abandoned. So therefore, we must not waste our opportunity. We must use this opportunity. We must take the essence of this meaningful life. So, in short, we must practice loving kindness. So, So when we practice loving kindness, we need to know three things. First one is object of loving kindness, which means all the sentient beings. Second is happiness, and third is the cause of happiness. Actually, these two are like the aspect of loving kindness. So here, happiness means we wish them happy without any condition, without anything in return. So we should wish them happy without anything in return. The happiness also has different levels of happiness. At the moment, what we experience is the worldly happiness, like physically we are happy, mentally one can be happy, etc. So these are known as worldly happiness. And then also we can move forward and can gain more and more advanced happiness. So all these are meaning of happiness. And the cause of happiness, third one is the cause of happiness. What is the cause? The cause of happiness is the practice of love, the practice of wishing others to be happy. So the cause here really means to do good actions, to do positive actions, physically helping others as much as possible, verbally helping others by using pleasant speech, nice words, nice expression. So through this way, we can make others happy. The way of saying can also make big difference in others' feeling. If you say it nicely, or if you use pleasant speech, then others will feel happy. And others will admire. And if you use harsh words, just by using these words, others feel very sad, very upset. They are disappointed. So verbally, it is important to help them by using pleasant speech and also telling the truth and using the words that can help them, that can guide them, that can lead them, that can influence them in a positive way, or that can make impact in a positive way. And mentally, positive action means the practice of loving kindness, wishing others to be happy, etc. So these three, the object, the nature of happiness, the cause of happiness, first we need to know these three. And after knowing all these three, then we join these three together. And then if we practice, then it becomes the practice of loving kindness. Then it becomes the practice of loving kindness to all the beings without any exception or discrimination. And then we need to practice. So then we need to practice loving kindness as much as possible. First, one should try to remind ourselves the meaning of loving kindness again and again. It is important to get used to this practice. It is important to familiarize with this practice. It's important to accustom with this practice. The more we get used to it, the better it becomes. Or we can have more and more practice of loving kindness. At the moment, we do have a loving kindness, and especially sometimes we can visualize all the beings as our object of loving kindness, but not all the time. Normally, our thought is divided. We have love and hate to some people. So now it is time to change. And to change, we need to put effort. If we really need to practice loving kindness, then we need to put effort. We cannot buy the loving kindness from town or from shops. We cannot borrow the practice of loving kindness from great practitioners or from great masters. Or the great masters and practitioners, they cannot transfer their loving kindness to oneself. And also, oneself has been controlled by the negative thoughts and karma from beginningless time. So, because of this, it is not easy for us to practice loving kindness, or loving kindness will not generate in our mind naturally without putting any effort. So, therefore, we need to put effort to practice loving kindness. We need to put effort to practice loving kindness all the time. And one of the ways to practice loving kindness is to think that we all are same. We all are one. The oneness, the thinking of oneness is important. If we think of oneness, then it unites us. It unites people from different country, different religion, different culture. All of them can be united by the thought of oneness. If we think we are very different, then that divides. The thought of differences divides us, divides between religion, divides between country or continent or different culture. Then it becomes difficult to practice, or then it makes oneself more distance from the others. And when we are more distant from others, then it is very difficult to practice loving kindness. When we have closeness feeling, within the sentient beings or between the sentient beings, then it helps us to generate the practice of loving kindness. So it is very important to think the unity, the oneness, the unity in diversity. And also, we should think that, especially with all the human beings, we should think that all the human beings are from one big human family. For example, like tiger, leopard, cheetah, lion, and other species that are similar to these, all of them are called, they are from the cat family. Although they are different and they live in different countries, different continents, but all these animals that are similar, all of them are called, all these are from the cat family. So just like cat family, although we live in different place, different country, different continent, and we look different, we will look a little different, but we should think that just like cat family, we should think that we all are from one big human family. By thinking in this way, then we can generate the closeness within us or between us. So we should emphasize on the similarities of the beings. Actually, we have many similarities and also many differences. The more we emphasize on the similarities, the more closeness feelings can be generated. And through this, we can really practice the loving kindness to all. And if we emphasize more on the differences, then it causes more deviation, or it causes us to divide or distance oneself from others, and it causes us to hate, causes us to show anger and other negative thoughts. So, therefore, loving kindness, the practice of loving kindness is not just for oneself, it is for all the beings. Or we wish all the beings to be happy and to engage or to do the virtuous deeds for the sake of all the beings. Or we wish all the beings to do the virtuous deeds, which are the cause of happiness. And just by knowing the meaning is not enough. Just by knowing how to explain about this is not enough. Just to know how to write about the meaning of loving kindness is not enough. So after knowing the meaning and after knowing how to explain this or how to write this in detail, then we need to apply this into our action. For example, just by knowing how to cook, or theoretically, if you know how to cook, just by learning from the books, it's not enough. After knowing it, then we really need to cook. We really need to implement our knowledge into action by really cooking the food and then really tasting the food. So, knowing the meaning of loving kindness is like learning how to cook from books or from videos. And practicing loving kindness is like really cooking the food. And through the practice, one gains the experience. So this experience is like tasting the food. So one can really taste the loving kindness, the food of loving kindness through the practice, through the action. Then one can really taste the food of loving kindness through our own experience. So, therefore, knowledge without action is not enough. knowledge without practice is not enough. After having the knowledge on loving kindness, then we need to practice. If you know the meaning of loving kindness, but if we don't practice to others, still if we show anger to others and we are not applying the loving kindness to others, then it is not useful. Our loving kindness is not useful. But at that time, this is not the fault of the teaching. It is fault of the person who fails to apply these teachings into action. For example, if one is driving the car and if one falls asleep, or if one is using phone, or if one is neglected, and because of that, if one has a car accident, then the accident is not the fault of car. It is the fault of the person who drives the car. At that time, the car has no problem. The engines and all these things has no problem. So it is not the fault of the car. It is the fault of the person, because the person is sleeping, or person is neglected and not concentrating on the driving, or person is using phone or something like this. So it's the fault of person. So when person is doing all these faults, and then if this person has a car accident, then we cannot just blame the car, or we cannot just blame the company of the car who makes this car, because it is not the fault of the car. At that time, the car car has no problem. It is fault of the person. So similarly, we as a followers, we as a person, if you don't apply these teachings into action, and after knowing it, after understanding the meaning, still if we show anger to others, then it is not the fault of the teaching. It is not the fault of the loving kindness, but it is the fault of the person who fails to apply these teachings into their action. That's why after having the intellectual understanding of the loving kindness, still one shows anger, still one gets angry towards others, or still one hates others. So it is important to differentiate between the meaning and the person. Just knowing the meaning does not change the person. To change the person in a positive way, the person needs to follow the teaching. Person needs to practice. Person needs to apply these teachings into their daily life. Put these into actions. Through this way, then it can change. This person changes, and then this person becomes a good person, positive person. So, therefore, understanding the meaning is not the complete part. After knowing, then we need to practice, and after through the practice, then we can gain the experience. So we can say the studying on loving kindness and practice of loving kindness, these two has cause and effect. The studying on loving kindness is a cause, and due to this cause, then one can do the practice. So the practice is the result of studying on loving kindness. Without studying on loving kindness, we cannot practice. Without knowing how to practice, we cannot practice the loving kindness. For example, if one is playing a sport, first one need to know the rules of the sports, of that particular sport. Without knowing the rule, one cannot be good at such sports. Those who are good at such sports, they know the rules very well, and by knowing the rule, they follow the rule and they play the game in a skillful ways. So similarly, first it is important to know. So knowing the meaning of loving kindness is a course of practice. After knowing, then one can practice. Practice is like the result of studying or knowing the meaning. And then we should experience the practice of the practice is a cause, and due to this cause, then one gain experience. One gain experience means then one becomes better person. It changes one's own self, one's own thinking, etc. And now, so with this, I explained the teaching on loving kindness. Now the next one is compassion. Actually, loving kindness and compassion are like a two sides of one coin. Loving kindness means wishing all the beings to be happy and to engage in the cause of happiness. And compassion means wishing all the beings to be free from suffering and to be free from the cause of suffering. So both are method to help others. Both are method to serve others or to guide others. And in the teaching, it says, if we really have the genuine loving kindness and compassion to all, or if we have the infinite or limitless compassion, then because of this, we can also have many other positive qualities. We can also have many good qualities, or many good qualities will just follow the great compassion. For example, when one invites the emperor, then without giving a separate invitation to the entourage, they just follow the emperor. They just come with emperor without giving them a separate invitation. So the entourage will just follow the emperor, and they just come with them, come with the emperor. Similarly, if we practice the great compassion, then many good qualities will just follow the great compassion. So by having the great compassion, one can also have many positive qualities, many good qualities. So here also it is the same like before. It has three. The first one is object, which is same as before, all the sentient beings. So in the Buddhist practice, others are very important for our practice. The sentient beings are very important for our practice. Without the sentient beings, without focusing on the sentient beings, we cannot do proper practice. So sentient beings are helping one's own practice. They are the favorable condition for one's own practice, and they are not the obstacle for one's own practice. For example, when one is giving food to a beggar, at that time, the beggars are not the obstacles of this giving. The beggars are the favorable condition, or they are the right object of giving. Because one sees the beggar, then one has the chance to practice giving. So beggars are the favorable condition. Because of beggar, one gets the opportunity to practice giving. So similarly, all the beings are favorable condition for one's own practice. So they are not the obstacles. So we should not hate them. We should not hate sentient beings, because one of the reasons is they are the favorable condition for us to practice and become Buddha. Just like beggars are not the obstacle for giving, and also, for example, the right amount of water, moisture, fertilizers, they are not the obstacle of the plant to grow into crops. Because of these favorable conditions, it helps the seed to grow into good crops, and they are not the obstacles. And to grow this seed into good crops, one really need to rely on the fertilizers, on the right amount of moisture, water, and right temperature, etc. So they are the favorable conditions, and one must rely on them to grow into good crops. So similarly, all the sentient beings are the favorable condition. Because of sentient beings, one can practice loving kindness, the limitless loving kindness. Because of sentient beings, one can practice great compassion or infinite compassion. So without relying on sentient beings, without focusing them as our object, it is not possible to practice loving kindness and compassion. So therefore, they are not the obstacles. They are the ones that help us to practice loving kindness and compassion. They are the ones who give us the opportunity to practice loving kindness and compassion. So, therefore, it is very important to respect the sentient beings, especially all the human beings. And we should respect the human beings, we should respect the human value. Nowadays, in this world, sometimes worldly people, because of their own strong negative thoughts, in order to gain something for themselves, they harm others. They do not care of others' life. And sometimes, if one's own secret incidents is saw by some strangers, just because they saw these secret incidents, then one wishes to kill this person because they have seen these secret incidents. So, in order to hide one's own faults, in order to hide one's own negative action, they don't care about killing innocent people whose fault is just seeing or just witnessing such incident. Because of that, they just want to kill that person. So, for one's own gain, for one's own secrecy, one just want to kill the others. So it means one doesn't have human value. One does not respect the human beings. So all this happens because when one doesn't have the practice of loving kindness and compassion. So loving kindness and compassion teach us how to respect the human value, how to be a good person, how to be honest, how to treat others in a respectful way, how to respect others, how to be polite, how to be humble, how to help others. So these are the points that we can gain or that we can practice through the loving kindness and compassion. So therefore we must practice compassion by thinking all the beings as our object like before. Second, the nature of suffering. The nature of suffering means, like, in general, all the humans have 4 types of sufferings. The suffering of birth, suffering of old age, suffering of sickness, and suffering of death. And also suffering of not fulfilling the wish, and suffering of finding someone that one doesn't wish to see or meet, etc. So human beings in general have sufferings. In this world, there are many different countries. Some are very developed, some are developing, and some are yet to develop. But wherever we go, we will not see a single person who has never experienced any suffering. We will not see a single person who only experienced the happiness. So it shows the world as a whole is in the nature of suffering. So therefore, if we really need to overcome the suffering, then we need to gain liberation. And to gain liberation, one of the methods is to practice loving kindness and compassion. These are the main method or the main kind of cause for us to practice or for us to gain liberation. So therefore, we need to practice compassion to all the beings without any exception. And so to practice this, we need to overcome the suffering. We need to generate the wish to overcome the suffering of others. And then also cause of suffering. Many people, they wish to overcome suffering, but they are doing the actions that are the cause of suffering. For example, like a butcher whose action is to kill animals. And this butcher also has a wish to gain happiness. Butcher doesn't want to experience suffering. The butcher also has the wish to gain happiness and to overcome suffering. But his action is not the cause of happiness, because his action is killing animals. So killing animal is negative action, and such action is not the cause of happiness. Such action is a cause of suffering. So oneself wishes to gain happiness, but one's own wish is destroyed by one's own action due to one's own ignorance, or because of not knowing the cause of happiness, not knowing the cause of suffering. One really wishes to overcome this suffering, but one is engaged in the cause of suffering due to one's own ignorance. So just by having the wish to overcome suffering, then one cannot fulfill the wish. or just by having the wish, one cannot overcome the suffering. To overcome the suffering, one need to abandon the cause of suffering. The cause of suffering is negative deeds, like killing and stealing, etc., are the cause of suffering. So, therefore, one really need to know the cause of suffering. So, the practice of great compassion or limitless compassion also has three things. First one is object, which is same as the object of loving kindness. Second is the nature of suffering that we wish to overcome or that we wish to pacify. And third is the cause of suffering, which is none other than the negative actions or the bad actions, which are the cause of suffering. So by knowing all these three, then we need to join all these three, and through this, then we can practice the infinite compassion. Now, on the basis of loving kindness and compassion, we should practice the bodhicitta. Generally, first we should know that Buddha is like our doctor. Buddha's teachings are like the medicine. We ourselves is like the patient. And our own anger and stinginess, pride, and attachment and other negative thoughts as our own sickness. Receiving teaching and following the teaching is like receiving the doctor's advice and following the doctor's advice. So, for example, just by receiving the doctor's advice, one cannot cure the disease. To cure the disease or the sickness, one need to follow the doctor's advice, not just listen to the doctor's advice, but after that, one really need to follow the doctor's advice. Then one can overcome one's own the sickness of anger and other negative thoughts. So, therefore, it is important for us to practice loving kindness and compassion. Based on these positive thoughts, then we need to practice the bodhicitta. Here, bodhi means Buddha, who has the perfection of relinquishment and the perfection of realization. Yeah. So bodhi refers to the perfect Buddha, and citta means mind. So mind here means our mind. It doesn't mean Buddha's mind, but it means our mind that has the sincere wish to attain Buddhahood, or once has the sincere wish to become Buddha. Everybody has the potential to become Buddha. If one follows the right footstep, if one follows the right path, then every one of us, every one of the sentient beings has the potency to become Buddha, to become perfect Buddha. For example, the present Buddha is not Buddha from beginningless time. First, present Buddha was also an ordinary person like us, but then he generated bodhicitta, he practiced bodhicitta, and then he also practiced the emptiness or meditation on emptiness, etc. So through these practices for long time, and then finally he became Buddha. And also in our time, or in this century, or in the past century, or in the past centuries, many great masters appeared in this world. Why they became great masters? Because they practiced Dharma. The course of becoming great masters or great practitioners is the practice of Dharma. All the great masters, they practiced Buddha Dharma. Because of that, they became great masters. They gained high realization. So Dharma practice is their course of becoming great practitioner or great master or gaining high realizations. And the Dharma that they practiced, the Dharma that was practiced by the great masters, is the same Dharma that we have the chance to study. It doesn't mean they practice very special Dharma that we cannot practice or that we don't have the chance to study and practice. It is the same Dharma. What they practice and what we can practice now, the Dharma practice is same. The Dharma is same. The authentic Buddha's teaching is same. But why we cannot become great master or great realized being is because we fail to study, or after studying we fail to apply these teachings into our daily life, or we fail to practice. That's why we still remain as an ordinary human being. So it is not the fault of Dharma, or it is not the fault of Buddha's teaching. It is the fault of oneself. Oneself lacks the effort to study and practice. Oneself is controlled by negligence. Oneself is controlled by the distractions. Oneself is controlled by powerful negative thoughts. Because of this, even though one has chance, one is just wasting this chance. One is just not taking the opportunity in a positive way. So, therefore, we need to practice. And as a Mahayana practitioner, the main practice is to practice bodhicitta. If we can practice bodhicitta, then definitely we can become a great person, great practitioner. And if we can guard the bodhicitta, then we can keep all the precepts, we can keep all the rules, we can be a very obedient followers of the Buddha. So the most important thing is to keep and guard the bodhicitta in our mind. Once we develop by receiving the bodhicitta vow, then we need to keep it, we need to guard it, we need to maintain it through our own practice. Bodhicitta also has two kinds. One is relative bodhicitta and one is ultimate bodhicitta. So at the moment, what we need to focus is we need to focus on the relative bodhicitta. Relative bodhicitta also has two kinds, known as the wishing bodhicitta and engaging bodhicitta. Wishing bodhicitta means generating the sincere wish to become Buddha, oneself become Buddha for the sake of all the sentient beings. Engaging bodhicitta means in order to attain Buddhahood, one need to engage in the practice. Through the practice, through engaging in the practice, then one can become Buddha. Just by having the wish, one cannot become Buddha. For example, if you just have the wish to go to Bodh Gaya, just by having wish, one will not reach there. After having the wish, then one need to put effort, one need to take time, one need to take leave, and also one need to prepare to travel by bringing the right clothes, and first one need to apply the visas and all these things. So one need to prepare many things. So one need to engage in this traveling by preparing all these things, and then one really need to go there. So this is called engaging in the action that can reach us to Bodh Gaya. Similarly, just by having the wish, one cannot become the Buddha. Just by having the wish to become Buddha, one will not become Buddha. After having the wish, then one need to engage in the path, in the practice on the path that lead us to become Buddha or to attain the perfect Buddhahood for the sake of all the sentient beings without any exception. And this bodhicitta is very important. We have the wish of loving kindness and compassion, or we have the positive thoughts of loving kindness and compassion. But if you don't generate bodhicitta, it is not difficult to fulfill our noble wishes. To fulfill our wish, one need to become Buddha. And to become Buddha, one need to generate the bodhicitta. In any field, one need to have objectives. One need to have the aims or the goals to achieve. If one is just doing action without having any goals or without having any goals to achieve, then it won't be very effective. If we set a goal and then we aim on that goal, then we aim to achieve this goal, and with such aiming, then we really put effort. When we can really put effort in doing these actions. Similarly, our aim to practice Dharma, or our aim to practice loving kindness and compassion, is to become Buddha, become oneself to become perfect Buddha for the sake of all the sentient beings. So, to attain Buddhahood, first we need to have the positive thought like loving kindness, compassion. Based on these two thoughts, then one can attain Buddhahood. One can become Buddha by doing the practice, by engaging in the path that lead us to achieve Buddhahood. So, when we receive the bodhicitta vow, or when we become bodhisattva, which means when we have the bodhicitta in our mental continuum, at that time we promise to help all the beings without exception. Or it's like we promise to invite all the beings as our guests, and we promise them to treat well. We promise them to treat all the beings equally without any discrimination. We promise to treat all the beings in a positive way through the practice of loving kindness, compassion, and the bodhicitta. So, since we have made this big promise, one should keep the promise, one should follow the promise, and to follow the promise, one should practice the altruistic mind, or one should help and serve others. For example, if one has promised to invite many people as one's own guests, and then after inviting all of them, when they are in one's own house, if one does not treat them well, then it is not right. Once one has promised to invite them, then one need to treat them. Similarly, once oneself has made great promise to serve all the beings or to help all the beings, and after making such promise, if one does not help them, if one just ignore all the beings, then it is not right. So therefore, it is very important to follow the promise. So if we follow the promise, then it means we should do proper actions of our body, speech, and mind. Physically, we should behave well. We should behave in a positive way. We should behave in a good manner. Even when we walk or we close the door, we should do it gently and not aggressively. When we show the path to others, we don't show with one finger, we just show with right hand with full 5 fingers. So we should respect any beings. Although they might be poorer than us, or others might be lower than us in ranking or in terms of titles, etc. But still, one need to respect the others, and one should act gently and peacefully to all the others. And verbally, one should use pleasant words, nice words, and one should practice the politeness. And then mentally, one should practice the positive thoughts. And also, as a part of practicing the bodhicitta, one needs to practice the 6 perfections, like practice of giving, practice of moral conduct. Giving means like giving material things, or giving teachings, giving fearlessness, or rescuing them from fear. It's called the giving of fearlessness. And then practicing moral conduct means one should follow the rules of the teachings, which means to help others, to guide others, to serve others, etc. And then we should practice patience or tolerance. When someone is using harsh words, unpleasant speech, or when someone is doing harmful action towards oneself, then one should tolerate, one should bear it, one should practice the patience. And then fourth one is enthusiasm, which means putting effort in virtuous deeds with great joy. If we force others to practice Dharma, then it is not right. In the Dharma teaching, we are not allowed to force others to practice Dharma. We are not allowed to force others to generate faith in the Buddha or generate faith and devotion in the Triple Gem. So one should have respect, or one should respect the Triple Gem by one's own wish. One should practice Dharma by one's own wish. So enthusiasm, the fourth perfection, means engaging in the virtuous deeds, or engaging in the Dharma practice with great joy by one's own wish. Then the fifth one is concentration, concentrating on the right object, concentrating on the right visualization, etc. And then the sixth one is the wisdom, the perfection of wisdom, which means the discriminative awareness. So it means through the wisdom we can know what is to be adopted and what is to be abandoned, etc. So these are the six perfections that we need to practice in order to fulfill the wishes of oneself for the sake of all the sentient beings. And also, this perfection also has impure actions. So it means not all the givings are positive. If one gives weapons to others or guns to others, especially to those who are short-tempered, then it is not right, because once this person has the weapons, then this person will attack on innocent beings. So giving weapons or giving drugs or giving animals to the butcher are not positive generosity. It is impure generosity, or it is improper generosity. It is not the right one. And also, moral conduct or following the rules. If one follows the negative rules, then it is not the right moral conduct. Even there's some like mafia or some bad person, they have their own group, like mafia, and they have their own rule. If one is following their rule, then it is not the moral conduct, because the rule of the gang or mafia is negative rule. So following rule also has two kinds, following the right rule or the negative rule. So here moral conduct means following the right rule, following the positive rule, not the negative rule. And patience. Mentally, we should always practice patience, but outwardly, from our physical behavior and verbal expressions, sometimes we can be impatient. But that it doesn't mean we should disturb our mind. Our mind should remain peaceful as always. But outwardly or externally, sometimes we can do some kind of wrathful or aggressive actions. This is just the appearance or just the outward action, not the internal action. Internal action is always peaceful. And then enthusiasm or putting effort. If one put effort in negative action, then it's not the fourth perfection. And also like mental concentration. If one do the mental concentration on the wrong visualization or negative visualization, then it is not right. And wisdom also. If we use the wisdom for wrong purpose, then it is not right. Some bad person has wisdom, and they use their wisdom to kill or to harm others, which is not right. So these six perfection, or these six practices has positive and negative, or proper and improper. So by knowing this, we should adore all the proper ones and abandon all the improper ones. So, in short, we should practice loving kindness, compassion, and bodhicitta. So with this, I conclude my short talk on these three topics. And now we just try to meditate for a short period of time, or short period of time, just as an example how to meditate. So, as you all know, to meditate, first one should sit properly, one should not move, one should sit in a proper way, and then one should focus on the practice, on the visualization. So first we just practice loving kindness. First the object of loving kindness, then the aspect or the happiness, nature of happiness, and the cause of happiness. And one should try to practice this loving kindness, which has these three parts, to all the sentient beings without any exception or discrimination. And now next we practice on compassion. The object is same as loving kindness, means all the sentient beings. And then we wish all the beings to be free from suffering and cause of suffering, which means negative actions. So we really practice this to all the beings without any exception or discrimination. So with this, I conclude my today's this afternoon's teaching and short practice. And now I will do the Vajrakilaya blessing to remove the obstacles and to help you to increase your merit, life, wisdom, and most important, to improve your practice, etc. So now I will do the blessing. Om Samba Nisamba Homo Hom Bell Megirana Girana Homo Hom Bell Megirana Baya Girana Baya Homo Hom Bell Omanaya Hom Bagavan Vidaranto Homo Hom Bell Masamba Nisamba Homo Hom Bell Megirana Girana Homo Hom Bell Megirana Baya Girana Baya Homo Hom Bell Omanaya Hom Bagavan Vidaranto Homo Hom Bell Masamba Nisamba Homo Hom Bell Megirana Girana Homo Hom Bell Megirana Baya Girana Baya Homo Hom Bell Omanaya Hom Bhagavani Vedaranta Hom Hom Pe Om Vajrakilaya Sarvam Vignan Benda Hom Pe Om Data Hana Hom Pe Om Bhagavata Hom Gara Om Gata Hom Pe Om Bhagavata Peta Mahana Hom Pe Bhagavata Dada Hom Dada Om Bhagavata Emenda Hom Bhagavata Hom Pe Om Bhagavata Arada Hom Benda Benda Hom Pe Om Bhagavata Haya Gira Moholo Hom Pe Om Bhagavata Aparita Hom Dada Dada Hom Pe Om Bhagavata Emenda Hom Dada Hom Pe Om Bhagavata Tela Yabita Hom Benda Benda Hom Pe Om Bhagavata Mahabalam Sabada Om Bada Yagan Om Dam Bada Bereva Hom Bada Amida Hom Bam Bada Marani Hom Ho Jo Maramaya Makala Bayintala Yam Sola Yam Latilla Sola Chum Sola Dundun Tumilla Yida Sola Shan Tota Walla Shikuyan the Mama Shirakaram Karma Maratana Barmaranda Nevum Bayanda Vata Sangishu Kondo Sambalongo Samaduka Bamajana Kan Long Song Kan the Zerin the Kan Shara and the Kan to the Gilbo to the Shadow Kan to Kan Gala Kan Halbo Kan Shagala the Kan Shara to the Kan Gilbo Kan Saja Bachumbo Monin Wakan Lovan and Bajasan of the Makan Jatan Bajata Waya the Kan Saja Penata Maya the Kan to Kan Gilbo Baba Pulumbokunga the Jalato was Hodan level of the Gadabako, Kimbaran Yada Kan, Jalama Tambasana Yada Kan, Lajakunga Yada Kan, Jana Yada Kan, Jamashada Yada Kosala, Mosana Kan, Single, Jakan, Jahasan, Bokunga and Havala, Kanjanga Mission, Ognosana Kan, Jahasana, Jakan, the Japan, Jamasana, Japan, the Sajamala, the Campagnia Bondi, Bokan, Javamada, the one Japan, Yada Kan, the Japan, when you sample the Bokan, I want to sit there. Kan Jakan, the Yada, the Second Jata, Lamatam, the Kilo, the Kata, Kologum, Babala, Saja, no, got the Jambal words in the sample on the Yelbata begin to follow some guidance on the motivation, Kipatis, Bata, and Jabata, Lamatam, the Sanga Chanaki, the Shadram, the loss of one. Sadan Deva Janala Tenda Sadan Tansang and Neva, or Delo Soda and Neva, for the Jubayating and Neva, also Badana, with the Tajabatan, something you want to get the Hold on, the Sangis and the Loss of Balevia, and the Daway, Jamada, one the Falsiga, the Sambetan, and just on the Vice, the deported, the Sola, Yellow, the Bashal of the High. Do I didn't go to get in a second about Majan, but I got a home person, but I got a home person, but I got a home person, so how much is now tired to just to get to $1 Timmy the Thunder one to drive for just imagine you to do it on the Yellow Salt law and Masola to the Gallian for just solid single Chiming of the Shan Chiming of the Dick and told them Yalameton of the Head, she took some of Sola to the Gallian for the Single judgment of the dollar mamma and the Venta, so Mam should about the good of a master depending on I used to the dollar just a Jotan on the train and the Tabachal and never to my Dashi Deja and then the Leso and Jolaman and get to Jotan, Lume Gundos and Gitch and Lata, and Chotan Tanzing, and the Jason Session, the Beta, so.